Yeah, man, it's the 7th of June, 2023. And in this video, I'm going to talk about gang stalking and MacBook Pros, really any desktop version of a Mac computer. So that would be like a Tower or a Mac Mini or a Mac laptop, MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, regular MacBook, whatever. Okay, if they even have that anymore. So, basically, when you're being gang stalked, when you have people on your neural monitoring, gang stalkers, and they won't go away, it's very typical for them to kind of take over your devices. And they like to do all kinds of administrative tactics against you to cause you a lot of inconveniences, to say the least, and even all the way up to completely brick your device or make it unusable if you start to go down the pathway that they don't like, all right? And you're talking about people somewhere else that are completely administrating your property and destroy it if they want to, if they don't like what you're doing, all right? So it's like they basically can control whatever you do. And a few things that have happened recently and then historically that I'll tell you about. So today I'm starting this video because I've been going through my files and in the shared folder, okay? So on a Mac, if you go to the Apple, or if you just go to a new Finder window, okay? And then you go to Macintosh hard drive or whatever it is you've named your hard drive, okay? And then you go to users and then yourself, probably your name or whatever you've named your account or your name on the computer, okay? So in my case, I went to users, then my name, and then there's all of my file system. Now, I don't keep everything in that. I keep a lot of stuff all over the desktop and kind of a mess, but I'm trying to clean that up. But anyway, in that folder, in your name, okay, that folder of your file system on a computer, you will find a folder called shared. And if you put things in that folder, then they are shared somewhere, okay, where I think you can probably configure the parameters of where or who is sharing it with. But in my case, I don't keep anything in a shared folder. And so whenever I look in a shared folder and there's something, then it's a problem because I know that they did it. And they do this kind of stuff all the time. And so in the shared folder, there's a bunch of stuff in there. A bunch of stuff that are what I call recovered files. These are files that just show up in my trash because they put them in the trash bin. And so I move them back out of the trash to a folder and call it recovered files. Okay, so I have these folders called recovered files, and they're always dumping my personal files into my trash on my computer. Files that I didn't put there. I know how to use a computer. I've been using computers for over 20 years, and is on a user level, I would call myself an expert. On a programming level, probably more like a novice, but on a user level, I would consider myself an expert on how to use a computer. I know when I put something in the trash, I know how to use that kind of thing. It's very obvious, and I don't put certain things in the trash, and they do. And so I move them back out and I call it recovered. But one of the important files that I found in my shared folder today was the HTTPD configuration file. And if you don't know what that is, it has a lot to do with like configuring localhost and enabling certain languages like PHP or Python or any of the other languages. You can go in because they're on your computer. A lot of the stuff is just not it's not enabled by default as like factory settings. So when you go into that file and you can enable different languages, and you can also change a few things around to set up your computer to run as localhost. Now, for them to have that file shared in the shared folder, it makes me very suspicious. Okay, I didn't put it there, and I would never put it there. I'm not an idiot. I would never put it there. Let me tell you a few other things to look out for. When I turn on my console log, and it's not just this particular MacBook, this is a MacBook Pro, and that I use every single day. I use it for school, I use it for work, I use it for everything. Okay, I'm always using it. And basically they they can administrate anything they want on it, and they do a lot of annoying stuff, but they leave it basically functional so I don't dig too much. And you don't want to get into that comfort zone with these type of people, because these are gang stalkers. They don't want to be caught. They don't want you making a big fuss about it like I'm doing right here on this video, but they want to mess with you just to the limit before you do something. Okay, so another thing you should look out for is the console log. If you open up your console log application on a Mac computer, you shouldn't see a whole bunch of stuff happening, okay, unless you have a whole bunch of stuff happening. In my case, I can turn off every program and have nothing happening and disconnect all connections and everything, okay? And then what happens, I turn it on and off to the races. If I turn it on for 5 minutes, I'll have probably the maximum, okay? There's a size limit to the amount of megabytes that the console log can run, okay? So once it gets up to about, I think it's like 500 and something megabytes, it starts just kind of bumping the old messages off into new messages, okay? So it hits that maximum and it just starts, it's usually about, I don't know the size limit actually, but I know it takes about 500,000 messages to get around that size limit. All right, and when it gets up around 500,000 messages, it just starts bumping off the old ones and showing the new ones. And there's programs, all kinds of sketchy stuff running on my MacBook, and that's these gang stalkers running their programs to do all their live streams and to administrate everything, and they're just running these hacker programs. They're not that genius. They bought these programs. Somebody gave them these programs, and they run these programs, and they likely have an interface, just a virtual machine, and it's probably some kind of Linux setup where they have all this stuff running, and your console log should not have 500,000 messages in 5 minutes. It should not, and mine does. And you would say, oh well, maybe this, maybe that. No, it didn't happen in the past. I've been on Mac for over 20 years. I've had Mac computers, towers, Mac minis, Mac laptops, at least like 5 or 6 of them. Okay, and that's not how they work, and that's not how they used to work before this whole problem started. And when this problem started, any Mac computer I get, immediately they take it over. If I run the console log, I can see these millions of messages running across in just a matter of minutes, and that's them running their programs. Another thing that they like to do is little annoying stuff. So they would they're like user interface manipulation. They're basically altering the coding of your OS, and little stupid things will quit working, like the click on your mouse or like cut and paste and stuff like that. And they'll disable it and then they'll re-enable it and, just mess with you. And you feel like the stuff's not working right, but it's them doing it. Okay, I know for a fact they can do it. They've done it on my mobile devices as well, Apple and Android mobile devices, and they've also done it on Windows computers, Chromebooks, and Mac computers. So they can do that. They do it on all of them that I have. They just get into the interface and start doing little things like that to become very annoying, and it's just a problem. It's an annoyance, to say the least, but it's a problem when you're trying to be productive on a computer and they start messing with little things like that. Another thing is the Wi-Fi. So today and yesterday I'm having problems with Wi-Fi working, and it's just like, basically I believe this is how it works, okay? They have a virtual machine running, and they've decided that they want to use that Wi-Fi connection. So they do. And then when you try, it doesn't work. Now, luckily for me, I have about 3 different options when it comes to running Wi-Fi connections. And so I can switch up and then I can get things to work, okay? But it's an inconvenience, and it's not something that I want to have to do, and I shouldn't have to do it. All of these services are services that I pay for. They belong to me, okay? They're services that I pay for on a device that I pay for that belongs to me. This is theft of property, theft of services, account theft, all kinds of things, okay? And I'm not, I know that they can get into stuff through and do things through like iCloud and Google especially. They even can do a lot on the Meta platforms, but that has more to do with the live streams rather than taking over your computer, like the Apple platforms and the Microsoft and Google platforms, where they can actually take over your device and run these programs. So that's another thing. Another thing that that I deal with is users. Okay, when you turn on your computer, you have your user. All right, and if you go and you disable guests, then you should only have your user popping up. Well, not long ago, I had other user popped up. Okay, and it's not in my system preferences in the accounts. It was never been there before. Historically, it's never been there on any Mac that I've had. And in this now, at this particular time, if I turn on my computer, I have my account and then other. Okay, and I can't get rid of this other. And I believe that's something that they did because it just appeared one day. It's not in the accounts. All of these things are stuff that they're doing on my personal device. Okay, so now I'm running a backup, and I'm going to back up my files. It's a very good idea to get something like this, okay, and back up your computer all the time. And I definitely have a lot of these sketchy files and things that I've found saved on external storage, offline external storage, memory cards or external hard drives, thumb drives, anything like that is external storage. And that's the only safe way you can keep something away from them. If you have it stored, if you get some evidence or something and you keep it on that same computer, you turn around and it's deleted and it's gone, and they just destroy and steal your files and the evidence against them from you. Okay, and it's very typical. So that's some of the things that you have to watch out for. I'm going to continue to try to get better and better at this. I'm studying every day. I have college classes, several every day that I'm working on, and I'm in a computer programming computer science degree course, program. So that's, and I'm about 2 years in, and I'll probably continue to do this for as long as it takes for me to get to the bottom of all of this stuff, because that's what I want. I want them to be accountable and have the consequences for doing these type of things. And I feel like for somebody in my situation, with somebody with my intelligence, with the understanding of what and how they're doing things, and then the quest of the knowledge to put myself in such a position to destroy them, it's unbelievable to me that they still exist in my life. But they do. Every day, it's a bunch of stupid stuff with my mobile devices, my desktop devices, even so much as like CarPlay. They just mess up cars that I'm driving, and to basically disable the application. So CarPlay doesn't work, and I'm sitting there on my phone trying to look at maps and can't listen to music or anything else because they'll disable CarPlay, and they can do anything they want to. They really can. And broadcast has a lot to do with it. I don't know if they're able to just strictly do it with broadcast to device, and they have that capability for connections, or if they actually use broadcast to connect to your phone, or if they, I just don't exactly know, but I highly suspect that they're able to do a lot of this stuff strictly with broadcast, even if they don't have to use any medium. They can go from broadcast to your phone, from broadcast to your car, from broadcast to your laptop, without having to go through any kind of computer network. And by the way, these guys that I'm dealing with, they're over 2,000 miles away from me right now, and still the problems are at least as bad, if not worse. I think they get worse when I'm far away because they feel maybe a little safer. So anyway, that's what's going on. That's a couple things that you need to watch out for if you're on a Mac computer. And as I learn more about the details of all of this stuff, I will continue to spread the knowledge to all of you guys. But you have to take some initiative and start trying to study this stuff and learn what's really going on.